Hi guys, how are you doing? So I'm doing another video. This is in reply to lawnboyspost1975 and his most recent tag, what game made you fall in love with gaming? It got me thinking. I have to admit, it got me thinking a lot. So I thought I'd better chip in and do a video, you know, my usual chatty way. For me, I was in a similar kind of situation to Lawnboys Post, in so much as I had the Spectrums and I had Atari 65XE back in the day. I was very fortunate because my parents pretty much every year from age 8 would invariably get me a console or gaming machine of some description every Christmas virtually. So I was dead lucky. For me, obviously I was only 8, so obviously there was no distinguishing between what was casual and what wasn't. However, I would play games and I could quite easily detach myself from those games and do other things. I mean, my tiny mind would go off and play ball games or jumper, you know, whatever, do you know what I mean? There'd always be something else that would take my mind off the games, right? So, I always considered the games as sort of like a diversion, something else to do. It wasn't until I saw an advert on TV for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game for the NES. We're talking about the side-scroller here. I must make that clear. We're talking about the side-scrolling platform game, you know, the one with the side-scrolling levels and obviously the top-down Zelda-y view as well. You know, in between levels. I thought that game was the bee's knees, and I was totally stoked by it. To look at it, wow. There was a Tandy store local to us, and it was only a small store, almost like a shoebox style store. It was quite small. All the stock, everything was virtually like rammed into these like glass cases, and they had a Nintendo, and I managed to get a game of that, to actually physically play it a little bit with my dad, and that got to me pretty profoundly. I wanted to play the game. I was addicted to the game, and more so than any other game that I'd ever played up to that point. So obviously the next thing was, parents, get me one. I begged and bought, you know, I begged and pleaded and all that lot, and did all the things that kids do, you know, please, 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 you know, all the rest of it. Gets to Christmas time, and, you know, the excitement's like, I'm exploding with excitement, right? I come down the stairs on that morning, on that special morning back then, and the parcel that is wrapped up is a lot bigger than what I was expecting. You've got to remember, guys, that this NES also had something else apart from the game. If you remember the advert, you got a free pizza in every box, to commemorate, obviously, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, as you can imagine, the pizza was just that little bit of the cherry on the top kind of thing for me. So I was expecting the parcel to be quite big, because I'm thinking, the pizza. But I didn't expect it to be this big. I open it up, and it is completely not what I was expecting. It's a computer. It's a Commodore 64. Oh my god, what? So another parcel, smaller, a lot smaller. I open that, and it's the game that I wanted, but it's on the Commodore 64 of all things. Interesting. I was confused at that point. I was kind of disappointed, but I was also my mind was kind of focused on the fact that I had this game now, albeit in a different way. So naturally, the first thing I did was, you know, rather than potentially moan, I just kept my mouth shut and just got that thing set up as quickly as possible, and I started to play, and it was everything I expected and more besides, and that was on the Commodore 64. Amazing, fantastic game, and it was the most frustrating game and I found myself like going mad over it all the time. And everything about the game just it encouraged me to go back to it. I ended up buying other games, and at some point I'd always go back to this game. I was addicted. So naturally, that was what made me decide that that's what I want. That's what I wanted to do with my life. That's how I wanted to spend my time, sort of thing. Obviously, my folks not happy with that, but that's another video for another day. But basically, if it wasn't for these inadvertent little things that happened, I mean, my folks obviously couldn't get me a NES, they just couldn't do it. I'm assuming that there was a Christmas rush or whatever, and my folks just couldn't get me one. Because I know deep down they probably would have gotten me one. They'd have probably broken themselves in two trying to get me one. So I'm forever grateful to my folks for that particular moment in time, because the combination of the computer, the combination of the game, and everything else got me thinking, wow, this is what I want to do with myself. This is how I want to spend my life. I went from just playing the game simplistically and getting a little bit of enjoyment out of them to almost being obsessed. And then it just sort of progressed from there. I mean, then you had the Amiga, then that kind of thing. I've had a Super Nintendo pretty much every year, and my folks would get me something. Even I remember one year I asked for a bike, and then they got me a Game Boy as well as the bike. It was mental. But anyway, Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, on the Commodore 64. That is the game that made me fall in love with gaming. And all because I wanted it on the NES. Some people have told me, although I don't know if this is true, that the game is impossible to complete because one of the jumps in sewer, on one of the later sewer levels, is just 2 or 3 pixels too wide, so your character jumps and can never make it. Don't bother me. I love the game. I think it's amazing. Everything about it is just what I want. It is my game, and that is the game that encouraged me to be who I am today, I suppose, and play games and do what I do. So yeah, awesome tag video there from lawnboyspost, and yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles if you're American, and it's on the Commodore 64. So there you go, guys. Thanks to lawnboyspost for sort of giving me something to relive my memories over, and also thanks to you guys and people that have subscribed to me so far. Speak to you all soon.